Hey, it's Black Vader once again with another reading from the code. You can get the code at producejustice.com. Today we're going into area 8 sex. We're going to talk about marriage / mutual agreement. Like I said, you can get the code at producejustice.com. I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who's watching. God bless you, your family, and just everyone who's trying to do their best every single day, somehow, some way. So like, comment, subscribe. You know, if you can't comment here, I have another channel you can go to. I just do music on that, but you know, for here, we're just going to stay on call. We're on page 336, area 8 sex. Like I said, producejustice.com. And yeah, let's get into it. Marriage. During the existence of white supremacy, the most powerful laws of marriage are dominated by racist men and racist women, white supremacists collectively. Since the non-white people of the known universe are subject to racist men and racist women, the marriages between non-white people to each other or between non-white people and white people are functionally political support arrangements that are directly or indirectly used to serve the system of white supremacy in all areas of activity. Marriages between white people are for the purpose of practicing white supremacy. So-called marriages between non-white people have the effect of helping non-white people to help white people to practice white supremacy. Within the system of white supremacy, all of the affection, caring, commitment, devotion, and romance that is said to be associated with marriage is, for non-white males and females, a so-called union that is controlled by racist men and racist women. The system of white supremacy racism is deliberately designed to dominate and mistreat people through the strict control of thought, speech, and action based on the factors of color / non-color. It is a poisonous system. It makes all people poisonous in the ways that they interact with each other. It makes each person a carrier of poisonous thoughts. Marriage is a mutual and harmonious relationship between males with females who also function as men and women. During the existence of white supremacy racism, non-white males and non-white females are not permitted to function as men and women. They are only permitted to function as race children, persons who are subject to white supremacy. Children cannot be married. They can only be mated. Men and women can be married. Therefore, during the existence of white supremacy racism, only white people can function as married people, and only to each other. Non-white people, while subject to white supremacy racism, should at all times expect their so-called marriages to be like all of their other so-called relationships. That might be in the description. Flawed. Sometimes seriously flawed. The sweet followed by the bitter, followed by the sweet, followed by more bitter. That is sometimes sweetly bitter or bittersweet. Any so-called marriage situation that involves non-white people can be correctly regarded as artificial, messy, non-logical, phony, pretended, unpredictable, unreliable, unstable, and/or, in truth, non-existent. As long as white supremacy is the dominant socio-material force among the people of the known universe, do not say that any non-white person is married. Instead, use the term attempted marriage, care-mated, etc. Explanation. As long as white supremacy exists, It is risk prone for any non-white person to attempt or pretend marriage. They should instead devote their time to those activities that will best help to eliminate racism. Any person who must have the direct and indirect approval of the white supremacists in order to engage in sexual intercourse, sexual play, and or sexual communication cannot be married. As long as white supremacy exists, no person who is subject to white supremacy can be married. It is correct for victims of racism to help eliminate the illusion of the existence of so-called marriage by refraining from engaging in so-called legal marriage or recognized marriage. The correct purpose for so-called legal or recognized marriage is to help arrange a relationship between two or more people in such a manner that they can best help each other to produce justice. Under white supremacy, no non-white person, victim, is correctly qualified or prepared for marriage to anyone in any place at any time. He or she cannot guarantee the protection, assistance, and or material comfort that is necessary or expected in the conduct of a true or legal marriage. It is false for any person to say or pretend that he or she can be married and at the same time be subject to white supremacy. The falsehood that dominates such interaction helps to promote incorrect thought, speech, and or action in every area of his or her existence. Non-white people who have attempted marriage while subject to white supremacy have become devoted to the belief in a power and security for themselves that does not exist. By believing this, they then proceed to become more involved in and more devoted to. I'll read that one more time. Non-white people who have attempted marriage while subject to white supremacy have become devoted to a belief in a power and security for themselves that does not exist. By believing this, they then proceed to become more involved in and more devoted to maintaining the status quo. To maintain the status quo, however, is to functionally maintain white supremacy. These so-called marriages become little more than time and energy-consuming exercises in avoiding the duty of promoting the elimination of racism, white supremacy. To avoid participation in any racist-dominated so-called marriage is one of the easiest and most effective means to avoid participation in any racist-dominated so-called marriage is one of the easiest and most effective means by which those non-white people who are dedicated to the elimination of white supremacy, to the elimination of racism can better do so. Do not say that you are married to anyone as long as white supremacy exists. Instead, say that you are one or more of the following: care-mated, mated, formal mated, legally mated, mutually arranged, church-mated, synagogue-mated, temple-mated, victim-mated, tribal-mated, counter-race-mated, arranged. If you are so-called married to a white person while white supremacy exists, say that you are mismated or mismate. If you are non-mated, say that you are non-mated. Establish a mateship that does or does not include sexual intercourse, but avoid attempting to establish a marriage, a mutual and harmonious relationship between non-white male and non-white female until you have become qualified to do so. Basically, you're not supposed to be together until white supremacy is dead. or switch with justice. Do not become involved in any serious sexual commitment, sexual intercourse, etc. with any person who does not seriously trying to speak up and act to eliminate racism, white supremacy, and or produce justice. Tell that person that the arrangement that you have must not be regarded as serious. If you and that person are not seriously involved in trying to replace the system of white supremacy, racism, with the system of justice, balance between people. During the existence of white supremacy, racism, and according to counter-racist logic, what persons are correctly qualified for marriage? Answer: white persons who have proven that they do not practice white supremacy. 2. Non-white persons who have proven that they are not subject to white supremacy, racism. Note: during the existence of white supremacy, all non-white people are forced to function as dependent children. Therefore, as a child, no non-white person is correctly qualified for so-called marriage. Do not attempt marriage until you can, with few problems and without any assistance from your chosen mate. Do all of the following, both for yourself and for at least 2 other persons, offspring, etc. 1. Provide adequate clothing. Provide adequate food, clothing, and housing / shelter. 2. Provide adequate medical services. 3. Provide adequate transportation services. 4. Provide adequate educational services. Explanation. Within a system of white supremacy, it is often very likely that a non-white female may be forced by the circumstances produced by the system of white supremacy to make all of the aforementioned provision for great periods of time and with very little help from any other person. In many or most circumstances, help that is adequate is not likely to exist. Question: what is the best and correct thing to say about a person who was born as a result of sexual intercourse between a white person and non-white person during the existence of white supremacy? Answer: say he or she is a victim of white supremacy. Explanation: during the existence of white supremacy, and according to compensatory counter-racist logic, all non-white people are, at all times, victims of white supremacy. I'm going to say that one more time. What is the best and correct thing to say about a person who was born as a result of sexual intercourse between a white person and a non-white person during the existence of white supremacy? Answer: say he or she is a victim of white supremacy. Explanation: during the existence of white supremacy, and according to compensatory counter-racist logic, all non-white people are at all times are victims of white supremacy. If you decide that it is best to be married within a system of white supremacy than to engage in sexual intercourse without being married, then do not under any circumstance complain about anything that your care mate says or does during the marriage. Explanation: according to compensatory counter-racist logic, the only logical reason for non-white persons to marry during the existence of white supremacy is to eliminate all complaints and all conflicts between the persons involved in the marriage while working to replace racism with justice. Question: is it correct to work hard to make a marriage work? Answer: a marriage that requires hard work to make it work is not a marriage. If you choose to engage in a marriage, do so only for the purpose of producing and giving support to offspring. If you choose to marry for happiness, expect to be generally disappointed. Explanation: during the existence of white supremacy, and according to compensatory counter-racist logic, marriages that involve non-white persons are, in truth, arrangements that give greater power to the white supremacists. All such marriages are directly or indirectly guided and controlled by the white supremacists. There is no guarantee of happiness. While subject to white supremacy and its divisive effects, and according to compensatory counter-racist logic, it is incorrect for any non-white person to expect to be happy as a result of getting married. When a white person says that he or she is married to or in love with a non-white person, and also says that he or she is not a racist white supremacist, ask him or her to help prove it by not engaging in sexual intercourse, sexual play, and or so-called homosex or lesbianism with any person, white or non-white, until white supremacy has ended. Explanation: as long as white supremacy exists, all sexual intercourse, sexual play, anti-sexual activity is under the direct and indirect control of the white supremacists, if and when non-white people are involved. Such involvement in such activities only adds to the confusion, frustration, and victimization of non-white people. It only adds to the refined power of the white supremacists. So that was my reading for today. Thanks to everyone who's a part of the code. We went into marriage. A little interracial marriage and also interracial children as well. I may put that in the description, who knows. But I just want to say thanks to everyone who's, doing a code with me. I've been doing this for over a year, but, we got to be consistent regardless. The system of white supremacy has to be destroyed and dismantled, directly or indirectly. But I just want to say thanks to everyone who's a part of this, who's a part of my growth, and I'm happy I'm a part of your growth. And I've been praying that things work out for those who are involved with this. And God bless you. That's it. It's Black Vader. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a happy 2023. It's almost Black History Month. Let's do it.